Hello, I'm Aamir Khalid. I'm part of the business board of the Combined Authority of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. And I'm here at Teraview meeting Don, and very excited, Don, to have a tour of your exciting facilities. So I'm very excited to hear about the story, especially the story of you through as a PhD student and developing this technology and taking it to market.
Well, welcome. I'm delighted to meet you. Yes, it's been a very interesting journey over the last 20 plus years. My background is I started off doing a PhD at the university here, and then I went to become a postdoc in the semiconductor physics group. I had the privilege to work with Professor Michael Pepper, who was my boss during the when I was a postdoc. And after doing my postdoc research, I actually joined Mike at Toshiba Research Europe, which was set up in the early 90s to commercialize some of the technology, further develop some of the technology that was coming out of the university physics department. We started terahertz within Toshiba almost as an accident. We were actually looking to develop semiconductors for high-density memory. Right. And we stumbled across the property of these semiconductors that when they are irradiated with visible light from a certain type of pulse laser, they generate terahertz. So we wrote some patents on that when we were part of Toshiba. And we took it to the management in Toshiba in Japan. And it didn't quite fit in with their business interests. They were looking at medical imaging in those days. This was more of a non-destructive testing technique, a metrology technique. But they proposed to us that we spin off the activity and set up a separate company. And we were very excited by this. And Toshiba was excited by it too, because they hadn't spun off an activity from one of their overseas or domestic labs. So we were a bit of a guinea pig. We were a test case for them. But it was, as you rightly say, it was those years of study as a postdoc, before that as a PhD student, and then development of the patents and technology within Toshiba that really led to Teraview. So very much a Cambridge story, from early university days all the way through to setting up the company.
Right. So you were a spin-out company, presumably with one or two people. And at what time did you decide that, okay, we need to really expand and we need to move into new premises?
For several years, we developed the technology. The initial stage was taking a fundamentally new type of radiation, and to generate and detect that radiation took a room double the size of the area we're sitting in now. In the early days of Teraview, we're condensing that into one of the instruments we see behind us here, sort of a tabletop system about the size of a small photocopier, medium-sized photocopier. That was the initial stage. We did some work with customers in the pharmaceutical market and different markets. And we used that to further develop the technology, but also understand the markets. Coming back to your question, what happened several years ago was that we were approached by Intel to develop technology for semiconductor inspection. That led to a product which has been very successful, and we sold it to most of the major semiconductor companies. We had a similar experience with Ford Motors about 3 or 4 years ago. They came to us to develop technology to look at paint layers on cars. We sold to those initial customers, but what essentially happened was our order book started to grow, the need for larger manufacturing facility, larger manufacturing team, and the business board was tremendous in terms of helping us finance the move from our premises in town to our current premises here on the research park, which really will enable us, I should say, to reach the sort of numbers, 40, 50 systems per year that we would like to get to over the next 18 to 24 months.
Right. So at the moment you employ 21 jobs, high-tech jobs. What's your projections over the next 5 years?
What we would like to do in terms of the Cambridge manufacturing facility is double or triple the number of people. Some of them will be engaged in manufacturing of high-end systems, but we also need further development people to help with customer-specific projects. Right. Many of our customers want some degree of customization done on a standard product. And that often in turn opens up new market segments, so it's in the company's interest to do that. But in addition to expanding, doubling the size of the manufacturing team, we would also like to roughly double the size of the development team.
Right.
And as our revenues go up over the next 5 years, that doubling or tripling will probably go to quadrupling, depending on exactly how quickly we ramp revenues.
And your R&D, that's going to be done here?
Our intention is to use Cambridge as our R&D base and also as our prototyping base, and also as our base for manufacturing high-end products. So the expansion that I just described would be to focus on those activities. So we want to keep R&D here. As we expand in the US and in Asia, our pre and post sales support network will grow. And we may do some assembly and manufacturing in that area. But the bulk of it will remain in Cambridge, and in particularly the R&D, as you say, will always remain here, just because of the network and the whole ethos here of taking things from a very early stage through to development. Very difficult to find that in other parts of the world.
Personally, this is the most exciting thing for me, that PhD starts from here, become a postdoc, launches a company, and then takes it to manufacturing. Most of your sales are abroad. You're an export company, basically.
We are. We've been an export company pretty much from day one. Majority of our customers are either in the US, which is where a lot of our automotive customers are at present. Our semiconductor base is largely focused in Asia, Malaysia, China, Vietnam, Korea, etc., Taiwan, in those areas. So yes, we've from day one, we've pretty much been an export company. But all the development, as we said earlier, has continued to really be focused on Cambridge. But the export and the sales are in those two regions.
Right. Another thing, since I've been doing a tour, I understand you've had some European grants, some Innovate UK grants, and you're mixing them up with some local grants to really grow the company.
We are, and we've been very fortunate, again, with support from the Business Board, but also from UK Innovate. In the past, we relied on European grants as well as some of the older Innovate grants to develop the technology. But as we move the technology from the laboratory into the production environment, we are yet again utilizing Innovate money. And we received a very large Innovate loan recently to support some of our automotive activity. And again, the loan to actually move into this facility was quite key too, in terms of promoting the sales that you just referred to.
Right. And in terms of your suppliers, are they local as well?
Most of our suppliers are local. We're proud of the fact that we actually support a lot of local suppliers, both in terms of some of the optics and electronics that go into our systems, but also a lot of precision machining. Parts, mechanical parts go into our systems. And quality and accuracy is very important in the terahertz range. And we rely on a whole system of local suppliers to provide that accuracy, high quality parts. But also they have the advantage that they can turn things around quickly. They're fairly flexible. So in the fullness of time, we will start to source more parts from abroad, inevitably. But again, for the bulk of our products envisaged over the next 5 years, and particularly for the high-end products, we will continue to work with our network of local suppliers. That's quite key to us in terms of delivering what we've delivered to date, but continuing to deliver really high-quality products. We're known in the market as being one of the more expensive but higher quality providers of products, and that reflects expertise in this company, but also the expertise of our suppliers.
Okay. So what's your 5-year ambition in terms of turnover, profitability, and what are the end goals in terms of where do you want to take the company?
We've spent quite a few years developing both the technology and the markets. And with a fundamental technology like terahertz, it's a little bit like X-ray or ultrasound was in the early days. It's taken the better part of 20 years to develop the product and to actually identify markets that were very customer driven, where there was a real need. Now that we've done that, our short-term goal is to move the company as a whole into profitability. If we were to focus on selling just existing products and not doing any further development, we would probably make a modest profit. But we've chosen to continue to invest, and that means that we are still making a modest loss. Our ambition over the next 18 months is to move into full profitability. And what we would really like to do over the next 5 years is to grow our automotive market and our semiconductor market to $100 million plus per annum opportunities. We believe we can do that because we have a very strong IP portfolio. The Fortune 500 customers that we have are buying our product, and most of them are now repeat customers. Right. And we also look at other incumbent technologies that are not incumbent technologies, other conventional technologies that are already in the market, like X-ray. And those are 150, 200 million per annum markets. So if terahertz is as important as those technologies, which is what our customers are telling us, and if we have the IP to protect our products, we think we can get to those sort of revenue levels in those two markets over the next 5 years.
Right. And how can we help you really more as the business board?
I think the business board, again, has been fantastic in terms of recognizing that Teraview, as a small Cambridge company, needed to move to new premises to expand its manufacturing capability. And that has really been key to our success in terms of the products that we've shipped and how close we are to being profitable. I think as we continue to expand, I think the business board's ongoing support, financial and otherwise, for the company would be welcome. There will be, as you know, there's many inflection points as a business grows. And we will undoubtedly get to another inflection point when we get through 50, 60 units, a year being shipped from the facility. We may then choose to expand further, and the business board might, play a role there. And if there was any help available, that would be forthcoming. But also, the business board has access to local expertise, and those sort of connections. Meeting people like yourself, others. It's vital to Teraview. So I think both in terms of contacts and in terms of funding, the board has helped us and can probably help us going forward as we grow as a business. Yeah.
So I think not only can we help you as the business board in terms of grants and loans, we have a SME growth unit as well at the business board. So if you want to have marketing advice or how to grow yourself internationally, then we can really help. So I hope this is going to be a long relationship, and that we could see this Cambridge generated company to go into hundreds of millions of pounds turnover.
Absolutely.
So, Don, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.